In this video, we're going to go from this to this. So this is the diff, rear diff out of the Proper RC Burnout Truck, and I've been shredding the gears off the rear diff. So this is a GP5 armor infraction rear diff, and it's got strong steel gears, but I've been stripping the gears because of the amount of torque that's going through the rear wheels. That's the input shaft, and you can see the teeth they've been ground off basically. So that was the armor infraction, and then I went to the GP4 out of an armor Creighton, which I thought, okay, that'll be strong enough, but actually it's not. That's the input shaft, the input gear out of a armor Creighton, and those gears are, you can see they're not good. They're stripped. So I'm stripping gears because of the amount of torque. So when I do burnouts, there's a lot of torque going through the big 160mm proper rubber street wheels. It's just not working. I've been stripping gears. So now I've stripped down the Proper RC Burnout Truck, and now we're going to try this. This is the diff out of an Armour Outcast 1/5 scale. So the new project is to put a 1/5 scale Armour Outcast diff into the Proper RC Burnout Truck. To give you a comparison, that's a 1/5 scale diff and that's the 1/8 scale diff, so you can see the difference. And the reason why this time it's got to work is because look at the size of those teeth on there. So that's what we've got to try and do. Now of course the problem is you can see the difference in size there to the 1/5 scale and the 1/8 scale. So I've got to try and keep the shocks in the same place, keeping the same rear arms there, but somehow need to put that big beast in here. So all of these parts are armor out of the Armour Outcast 1/5 scale, as I said, and this is a GPM aluminium diff housing or bulkhead. And I got aluminium just in case I need to do some cutting and welding to make everything fit. Here's a quick size comparison. So that's the 1/8 scale Creighton and that's the 1/5 scale Outcast. This is the 1/8 scale Creighton and that's the 1/5 scale Outcast. Look at the difference. But the challenge is trying to get it to fit in there. All right, let's get into it. That's what we're trying to spin on the street. That's why we're blowing diffs. Alright, now got to try and fit this on there. I reckon if I put it flush like that, should be alright. And I'm thinking that's how it's going to be. It's going to sit like that. Hopefully that diff should fit in there. Oh, it fits nice. Look at that. That fits in there nice. Now mark the holes. So I got those 4 screws in, and I'll just get those other 2 ones, they can go in later on. Now let's put this big monster diff in there. Rear diff goes in there. Cool. So we've got the 1/5 scale armour outcast diff housing attached to the chassis, and it's looking good. So now you can see this movement here, and I'm just going to use washers inside here so that I can get that lined up. There we go. Nice. So the next thing to do is to build the shock tower. So obviously we need a shock tower on here, and I can't use the 1/5 scale. I've got a straight edge on there, so that's the original height of it, 12 millimeters, which is half an inch. So I want to end up with 12 mil from this. I don't need this anymore because I've got my measurement, and then I can start cutting this out. As long as I've got 12 mil from here, 12 mil from here down here. Okay, so I've cut that up. I can use these 2 holes here, one here and one here. Okay, so I've drilled 2 holes in there, and they're going to line up. Alright, how's that look? That looks awesome. Right. Now it's just these tie rods need to be fixed somehow to here, and I can already see it's clashing with the spring, which isn't very good. Good. There's the whole rear end assembly. How good is that? Oh, hello. We made some good progress on the Proper RC Burnout Truck yesterday, and we'll go through what's going to happen today. So what I want to achieve today is the body or the shell fixing, and I need to somehow fix that on there. So that's screwed on all right, and it's a good height too. I can still adjust it a little bit on here, but that's pretty solid. Look at that. That's awesome. Now I can just test fit the shell. That's perfect. All right, that was easier than I thought in the end. So the next thing I want to do is put the input shaft bearings in here. So the input shaft, and then you've got these new Armour 1/5 scale Outcast or Creighton input drives have a different type of, normally we just use these, you know, and they turn it, but they've come up with this design. It must be stronger, because I was wondering how to get that in, but you've actually got to feed the drive shaft through here, and then you put that on there, and then you get a bag of bits, and then put those little bits in there, and that locks it all together. So the next step is the two drive shafts that drive the rear wheels. This is the 1/5 scale one, and this is the 1/8 scale. And I have to use, so I'm going to have to cut them. Hopefully A, it fits, and B, it doesn't break, because there's a lot of torque going through those. Okay, there's the custom made center diff. Screw that on. I've got the custom welded drive shafts and rear axles all welded up, ready to go. Okay, so the center diff, all the drive shaft, the rear axles are all installed, and it's rolling quite nicely. Okay, time to put the running gear back in. So we've got the huge Spectrum 1100 kV motor and the 160 amp ESC, all that's going to stay the same. So it's time to put it all back in. We're getting to the end now.
Okay, so this is day 3 of the rear diff rebuild or replacement of the 1/8 scale rear diff to a 1/5 scale rear diff, and it's gone quite well. So this is the GPM 1/5 scale diff out of an Armour Outcast or Armour Creighton 8S 1/5 scale. And one of the reasons why I make these videos is to show you that once you've got your RC vehicle, you can modify it, make it stronger, make it faster, do anything you want to make it how you want it to be. And this is a good example of that. I've been cutting, welding, drilling new holes, doing everything, anything I want to try and make this better. I started with a 1/8 scale Armour Creighton diff, but it was just shearing the gears off because there's so much torque coming out of this motor going into the diff that the gears there just wasn't enough meat on the teeth of the gears, so they were just shearing off because of the amount of torque that's going through these rubber wheels that are on dry asphalt or dry tarmac. And this is built to be a proper burnout truck, so it can lock the front wheels and do burnouts on the spot, or line locks, donuts, whatever, in the dry. And so to do that, because these wheels are so big, a lot of torque is coming through here, a lot of torque is coming through the diff, and I was just shearing those teeth off. So hopefully this is going to solve those problems.
Okay, I'm going to have to take the motor out. Okay, I've got it half on, so now hopefully I can just push the remainder on without it falling off. Yes, got it. That's the one. So don't forget to put grease on the gears and grease inside there on the input shaft. Up to the last part now, and that's just putting these body supports back on. And I've got a quick way to do that. Boom. Okay, it's all assembled back together and ready to go for a test. So we'll just do a quick servo check and motor check. So we're just turning it on now for the first time. Okay, forwards, reverse, left and right, and front brakes. Okay, so here we are on location. The 1/5 scale diff has been installed. So this will just be a quick burnout test to make sure it's all working, and then we're going to wrap it up. Let's get into it. It's looking good. Really happy with that. That's awesome. So I think we're going to wrap it up here, guys. Stay tuned for the next video, because I'm going to be putting a smoke machine in there in this truck, and I'll show you guys how to do it. We'll do it together, and there's going to be smoke coming off those wheels, and it's going to look awesome. If you've made it to the end, then thank you, and we're going to wrap it up here. I'll see you on the next one. Cheers.